Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and it's been a while since I did one of these, but today I have an unboxing for another Hasbro Force FX Elite Lightsaber, and this time it is the Mandalorian Darksaber. Bloody marvellous.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
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 Don't make me destroy you.
Okay, so yes, the Darksaber. We first saw this in the Clone Wars series, and of course very recently we saw it in live action in The Mandalorian in all its glory. And as you can see there, this is the Darksaber Force FX Elite from Hasbro itself, and front and center right on the packaging is every bit of reference to the Mandalorian series itself. Obviously you got Giancarlo Esposito there as Moff Gideon and a silhouette of the Mando himself. And yes, just going through the box, I mean, it's all of these lightsabers seem to be Force FX Elite now. None of them are the bog standard Force FX lightsabers. A little bit sneaky on Hasbro's part there. They recently just announced a Rey Skywalker one, the lightsaber that you see her carry at the end of the Rise of Skywalker, and you only see that for what, 2-3 seconds, that lightsaber, and yet they're releasing a Force FX Elite version of it. Don't get me wrong, it does look very good, but for a lightsaber you only see very briefly. I don't know, I think we should probably go back to the classic sort of Force FX baseline for lightsabers like that, but anyway, I digress. So yes, I have already opened this because there is something very unique about the way this saber is built in terms of the power, whereby I have to do a little bit of extra work beforehand in order to get it to work. So I'll show you that in a moment. But yes, here we go. Like I said, I have already unpacked it, and there it is. There is the Force FX Elite Darksaber in all its glory. Really, really nice saber here. Has some really good features that make it stand out. Obviously, this is clearly a very, very different type of saber to what we're used to. You know, in every sort of aspect of it, the way the hilt is designed, the way the blade is in the cartoon series, in the Clone Wars, and of course in the Mandalorian as well. It's such a standout piece, such a standout saber. The history and the lore behind it as well is, you know, completely different to that of other lightsabers. But obviously, just by looking at it, you can tell, you know, the level of detailing here in the hilt, you know, the grip area, all these, you know, handle sections. This is a perfect example of one that you can really double grip. You know, it doesn't feel awkward at all to hold it in this fashion. Or the other lightsabers, especially sort of like, you know, well, the Count Dooku one's pretty easy to hold, but the Revan one, pretty difficult to double hold due to the design of it. Here, none of that. It's very sleek, it's very elegant, it's very very easy to grasp. I've just activated it there. Bit of a teaser there. But yeah, so this is really, really heavy. And I mean really heavy. If you are having this on display on a glass shelf or something like that, and this falls over, goodbye to that shelf. If I drop this on the floor, I'm probably going to damage the floor as well. I'm not going to lie. This is really, really heavy, and I think it's probably to do with the technology in terms of the battery, which in itself isn't that heavy, but I think it's just everything else about it, because this is a very, very different type of blade. As you can see, it's very narrow there, so it's not circular like all the other ones that just slot in. This is very, very different. So obviously they've done something with the technology here, which is, you know, great. You know, they've been coasting a little bit, I think, with some of these sabers. But there you go. So I've already shown you this sort of section here. You get lovely detailing there at the end. Some numbers there as well. There's a screw, which is where the battery pack is kept. The battery's in here. Like all the other sabers, the battery is in the bottom, but it's a different type of battery, which I'll show you. The emitter section is all this bit here, and yeah, that's obviously very clearly a different colouring, very, very shiny, obviously very matte. And I like that. I like how there is a difference. It's not just one sort of base colour. A lot of the custom sabers you can get for the Darksaber like this are all one baseline colour. And I think that is the case. Might be wrong. I think that's the case for the Galaxy's Edge version of this. I think it's all just one colour, or it's slightly off in terms of the design. So that all looks like sort of like one sort of size, apart from this, you know, the emitter cover here. Don't know what you'd call that, to be fair. But yeah, it's all very much in line with itself. Yeah, there you go. So you have these little windows here. Now, not technically windows, but they do activate up. You can probably just about see it there. Hang on. There you are. So you get an idea. So obviously I have put batteries in this. Not strictly batteries. I'll show you. But yes, that does just light up. No sound effects. Nothing there at the minute. But if you wanted to display this with the light on, you can do, which is a really nice effect. None of the other sabers do this at the moment. So that in itself is a really nice effect. Right. Just going on the battery, I'll show you that now. So you do get supplied with a good old Allen key. I have too many of these now. I don't know where to put them all. I've got more Allen keys than I do actually have sabers, which is an interesting problem to have, I guess. So yes, you take that bolt out there. Dead simple. Just screws out a couple of turns and it pops out, and then that does slide out. And there it is. There is the battery pack. This is rechargeable. This is a rechargeable battery pack. This is different. This is unique to this saber. This is unique. We've not had anything like this with a Hasbro saber so far. A lot of the custom sabers go off this kind of technology, you know, using a rechargeable battery pack. It's much more economic. It's much more better for the saber because there's no chance, well, as far as I know, there's no chance of this leaking, causing damage to the internals. Whereas with these AA's and AAA sabers, I always take the batteries out when I've finished having a play with it, because I don't want it leaking, the batteries leaking or corroding inside them, buggering up the internals of them, which you see on eBay all the time. Sabers which have just, you know, been left or they've been forgotten about, and the batteries are just corroded away. So yeah, that in itself is really, really light. That's dead like that. You do get supplied with a USB cable to charge it up as well. So interesting bit of kit. I think all the sabers from now on should be going this way. You know, better for the environment maybe, you know, as a plus point, but better for you as a consumer. You're not buying AA's and AAA's left, right and centre and then watching them as they corrode away. There is a point in here that this battery will fail eventually, apparently, according to the material that you get. You get an abundance of material like you always do, and it does say that you have to remove the actual rechargeable battery at some point. I haven't opened this yet, I don't want to, but it's not a bog standard battery as far as I can tell. I think it is possibly a AA, singular one, but a specific type. But you don't have to take it out to recharge it. You literally just plug it in right there where that USB connector is, and stick it in your plug socket. Bob's your uncle, don't have to worry about it. If you're like me and you don't activate them all the time, it's probably going to be fine for you. Probably nothing to worry about. So there we go. That just goes straight back in. Screw goes in as well. A little bit fiddly. Kind of have to get it right. There we go. It does just seem to pop out. Yeah, there's a bit of spring to this battery as well. When you put it in, it does just kind of spring out. Right, there you go. That's nicely in there. Oops. There we go. And now, to put the blade in, very similar thing. You use the same Allen wrench, which is really helpful. Don't need two. Just unscrew that when I can. Come on. There we go. Okay. So the sheath pops straight off. And then that bit, which is obviously like just a placeholder, you know, just to give you the illusion of the emitter when it's not activated. And then again, you can see the window there. There's a window there where obviously the light travels up, which is really good. So that's for this bit here. There you go. Wonderful. Turn that back off. Come on, there you go. Yeah, you can leave that light on, you can hold it down for roughly about 3 seconds to turn it off, which is different to the activation and the deactivation, which I'll show you. So let's see if I can get this right, because this is a bit fiddly to sort of get in. There we go. So here is the blade. Let's go through that first. Here is the blade, and just immediately you can tell the difference between this and this one, which is from the Emperor Palpatine saber. Now obviously immediately there's a size difference. The connection points here are a lot bigger for the Darksaber. The blade itself is a lot longer, which isn't really a problem. It's not really an issue. Not too bothered about length. Careful. But yeah, just looking at it, you can tell there is a different style of construction here. This is obviously made to look like the Darksaber. So the Darksaber has, when it's activated in the show, in the series, in the cartoon, Mandalorian, whatever, it's a very thick black element, and then, you know, the blade itself seems to be illuminated from the outside, from the edging, and you can, that's how they've constructed the LEDs here. You can see the LEDs inside. Let's see if you can. You can probably just about there. There you go. You can see the LED lines there. I'll tracking my finger right there. You can see the LED lines there. So it's not strictly invisible, but for the purpose of this, it's acceptable, because this is obviously a different style of construction. Really, really different style of construction. So you can forgive them for some bits of that. But obviously, you have at the end here, obviously that bit of the emitter there that's replicated from this bit here. There you go. Okay. Nice and replicated. So it should just slide straight in. Let's have a go. Which way does it go? It took me ages to figure out initially which side to put it in, because it's kind of off. If you look there, like, you're supposed to hold it there, and the blade curves that way. The edging's that way. And to me, for a moment, my head just wasn't really getting it. It's supposed to be the other way around. There we go. That should be that. Yeah, I think I've got that right. Careful not to activate it. Right, and then just put the screw back in. Nice and simple. It says. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we are. Now, one thing to note, this does feel a lot more wobbly than the other ones. Something to bear in mind. I would not at all, any degree of certainty, recommend this for clashing. It does have clash effects, but I would not be clashing this with anything else, any other saber or anything, because this does feel, I mean, look at that, there you go. I'm barely even giving that anything. You can tell the wobble there. That's quite a wobble. So I would not recommend this for clashing, and that is screwed as tight as I can get it. There is no way to secure that any tighter. Absolutely no way to secure that any tighter, because it's secured further down as well. You're secured by this. This sheathing locks it into place. You're not actually screwing the blade into it. Like, you get blade retention screws in custom ones. You're not getting anything like that here. You literally just, the blade's popped in, the sheath goes on, locks it in. There's nothing else. That's why you're getting this wobble. That is. Oh. Yeah, and the wobble's coming because I think it's just to do with not thickness, because obviously that's quite thin. That, I think it's just because probably the weight right the way along, due to the difference of the LEDs and everything. You can almost hear it. See, you can hear it. So for me, this is fundamentally a display piece. This is not combat ready whatsoever. This is not play with your kids ready at all. if you want that one, there is a 30 quid one you can get from Smith's Toy Store. Very similar to this. Doesn't look too different to this. I must admit, I nearly bought one a while ago before they announced this, and that seems to be a lot more thicker, a lot more stronger for playing with. This is purely for display. There we go. That's the disclaimer out of the way. I think we've done your job for you, Hasbro, I think. But here we go. Let's have a go. So yeah, activation button is there, right there, and secondary buttons are there. So we'll just go for it. There you go. There you go. Obviously you can see the light up here, and then lighting is down these two strips, length of the blade. Right, let's turn it off. One thing I have noticed is this is very, very quiet. This is a quiet saber, and I'm wondering if that's purely because of the type of battery. So I'll activate again because it's very dark all of a sudden. There you go. Yeah, you can see it all there. The LEDs are quite bright, though you might not be able to see them. I can see the LEDs, the individual LEDs. No, you can't see them there. I can see when I'm looking at it. It's bright, but it's not as bright as sort of like looking directly at an LED. And I can see the individual sort of LEDs themselves. So obviously you can hear a bit of effects there. The sound comes from this portion here. And this is fully charged, by the way. This is fully charged. So it's not like the battery's running low or anything like that. This is fully charged. So it should be okay. There you go. I hope you can hear this. I really do. Probably can't, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if you can't hear this. Let me just have a fiddle. Let me just see if I can change a setting here. Properties. Let's have a go. Filters. Okay. Let's take that off. Yes. There we go. Let's see if you can hear that. Hopefully you might be able to hear this. The thing about this is even though it is sort of quite heavy and quite large, it's really easy to fiddle around with. It's really easy to give it a good go. I've got a horrible light here. It's really annoying because I really want to swing this around, but... And there you go. There's a bit of clash effects there. Right, so I'm just going to deactivate that very quickly. Let's get a bit more lighting, shall we? There we go. So there are clash effects on here. Now, hopefully you could hear most of that. As you can see, as I was saying before, lighting's still on there because for the display purposes. So I'm going to reactivate and we're going to go through the clash effects and the secondary features. There we go. So close up again. Okay, so this is very responsive. One thing about this compared to, say, the Count Dooku Saber, for example, where I had a bit of a problem getting some of the contact responsiveness. This, bang on the money. Every time, bang on the money. Easy. Okay, and then you have blaster effects. Probably can't see them actually. You can just about see them. They do turn like a red colour. Nah, I don't think you can see them there. And if you hold it down, the secondary button, you get like a melting effect, which you can just about see there. See that change there? Right at the tip. There's like a red and yellowy colour. You can just about see it, I think. And it goes back. The blade itself, when you deactivate it, is really quite good. Travels all the way down. Likewise, when you activate it, travels all the way up. Oh, there you are. Travels all the way down. So all the features are there from the newer Force FX ones, the extra little added features. And again, the light's still on there, so I think you have to hold it down even longer to deactivate it. There we go. So yeah, once you press the activation, hold that down just a little bit longer, it turns off all the rest of the lights. But there you go. That is the Darksaber in all its glory. An interesting piece. I think it'll look really well, you know, alongside, say, Dooku, maybe, for example, or maybe on its own. Probably going to display this on its own, I think. But yeah, highly recommend this if you're a massive fan of the Darksaber, the history of it, the lore of it, you know, what we've seen so far in Mandalorian, Clone Wars. Really recommend this because it is very unique, has tremendous weight to it, and it looks really, really good. But the flip side is, this cannot be used to clash anything. Other than on your hand, I honestly would not recommend this being smashed anywhere else, because it will fly apart, it will break apart. This is probably the most toy feeling blade of all of them. This bit, no. This bit, absolutely not. This bit, 100% a toy. 100% a toy. But there you go. I'm going to leave it there for this video, I think. Hopefully you did get most of the sound and everything, or the effects. I'll just do a little bit more here for your benefit, just in case. There you go, you can hear it. It's not too loud. It's not very loud at all. That's the thing. There does tend to be a disparity between how loud some of the sabers are. Like the Kylo Ren one, not very loud at all. Count Dooku one, extremely loud. Ventress one's extremely loud. Revan, sort of. This one, not so much. The swing, it's not a smooth swing obviously, but that's quite piercing. So maybe it all comes from there. But there you go, that is it. That is the Hasbro Force FX Elite Darksaber. This has taken way too long to come out here in the UK. This was originally meant to be dispatched in June, I think it was. But obviously due to pandemic and good old Brexit, we seem to be experiencing a lot of delays with some products getting shipped out and getting reviewed. That's why the figures seem to have dried up as well. But all in all, there you have it. Finally got it. Finally got it. And hopefully we'll get some more lightsaber reveals. I think, like I said earlier on, they did reveal Rey Skywalker. I think they hinted at Leia as well from The Rise of Skywalker. But again, it's a saber we saw 3 seconds of. You know, give us some other sabers. I want a Qui-Gon Jinn one. Where is the Qui-Gon Jinn saber? Excellent. But there you have it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you again on the next one. Thank you very much. Bye bye.